Hey guys, Ash here coming at you today with another Raid Shadow Legends Champion guide, and it's gonna be a good one. It is my girl and your girl, Scyl of the DRAKES. We have gotten so many requests for her on the channel. Ark says it's gonna be up-to-date Scyl guide. We have this guy, Mujtaba, says day 3.5 asking Scyl of the DRAKES. Okay. We have Scyl of the DRAKES says Haynes Tolme. Do a video on silver drucks. Okay. And then we have Scyl of the DRAKES and Visix, please, next video, or UDK. Trust me, they're all gonna come in good time. We also have the Scyl of the DRAKES lore, which is a great story to read at the end of today's video. But ask and you shall receive. Why is Scyl of the DRAKES so special? At the time of her release, guys, she was a free champion. She still is a free champion that everybody gets as a not progression, but rather a login reward. I am on the free-to-play account because I had to show you how she changed my free-to-play account, guys. Scyl of the DRAKES, as you can see, 180 days of logging into Raid Shadow Legends, and you will get your hands on one of the best things that Plarium ever did inside this game. That is, again, giving access to a really solid healer, reviver, control champion, support champion, all rolled into one. She's a tremendous champion, so I can't wait to share her with you guys today in my favorite build. So again, we are on, the mini account, and things are slim pickings in terms of artifacts, so don't judge too harshly here. But again, we're trying to mix things up on the channel too, not just all doing endgame content like I do on my main channel, or main account, I should say. So, we have 3 beautiful skins. Let's go ahead and admire them. First of all, she looks amazing no matter what, right? I mean, great aesthetics on this Barbarian Magic Affinity Legendary Champion. We have the Lavaborn skin. Oh my word. This is pretty, man. Look at that. That is a skin, ladies and gentlemen. And then we have the Azure skin as well. Woo! It's looking good. It's like the Yakarl the Scourge kind of spin-off skin. I love it, man. Both the skins are really amazing on this champion. Okay, so enough talking about aesthetics. What does she do? On the A1, Drake's Swiftness attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance win both to placing decreased speed for 2 turns. Also has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. This is a great control A1 ability. Again, we get a 40% chance decreased speed, 45 if we pick up the Sniper Mastery, and then again, we get that shot at decreasing turn meter as well. On the A2, Wing Beat Flurry, excuse me. An AoE attack, and you can see I'm 1 book freaking short. I'm 1 book short. Actually, I think I have a few books. Yeah! Oh my god, wait a second. Do you think I'll get oh no, I have nothing booked. Do you think I will get lucky, guys? I doubt it. Let's go. Give it. Wing Beat Flurry. That's it. All right. Hey, that's not bad. Ideally, we'd have her fully booked. This is a great Champion 2 book, but we got the book in the A2, which is what we wanted. So sign me up. I'm going to save my last 2 legendary skill tomes here, guys. Anyway, back to the point of the video before we get too distracted here. Now we have on a 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has an independent 35% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn. A great control ability. Obviously, her damage is based on defense as a defense-based champion. So great control here. On the Revival, Phoenix Wright revives an ally 50% HP and places a 50% ally protection buff on them, basically mitigating 50% of their damage for 2 turns. This is on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. Obviously, we don't have it fully booked here, but a revive is a revive. We're happy about it. And then Boundless Life makes her a tremendous healer for your team as well. Heals all allies by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. Also, places an increased speed buff on a random ally for 2 turns. This happens every time she takes a turn. Thus, I love putting her in Relentless Gear. Listen, I only have like 2 sets of Relentless Gear on this entire account. One of them is on Scyl of the DRAKES. I think it makes perfect sense. Any champion that has these passives that are healing or doing something amazing every time they take a turn, a la Doom Priest, Tawana Rock, Scyl of the DRAKES, what's the new reviver from the Elva Autumnborn? There we go. Anything like that, we want them to take as many turns as possible, right? More heals. If she takes a double turn, we get a 10% and then another 10%. We get 2 increased speeds on 2 allies for 2 turns. So it's a tremendous ability. That's why I love her in Relentless. Not to mention, the extra chance of getting more stuns out and more revives and the slower cooldowns on all those abilities, okay? Now, Masteries on this champion, guys, there's a few ways to do it, right? Now, I do not have, obviously, full masteries. I need to farm that up as well, right? And I'm not going to pay for them. There's a few directions you can go here. The way I am going, because I'm really relying on my Scyl the Drakes as a control champion. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to definitely pick up Harvest to Spare. Honestly, you could argue as soon as I'm done recording this video, I think I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to go farm enough to just get Harvest to Spare. Really important on this champion if you go defense tree. Has a 60% chance of placing a leech when she's placing a stun. Ergo, even more heals from the A2 now of the ability when she's placing those stuns. You can also run her in a stun set to get another chance at a stun, 18 to 23, depending if you go all the way down and pick up Fearsome Presence, which I intend to do. So I would go Delay Death, I would go Harvest Despair, actually, take that back. I would go Harvest Despair. I only have one option in tier 4 here. I would go down to Retribution, and then I would go down to Fearsome Presence. If you need the extra accuracy, nothing wrong with going Eagle Eye as well. Master Hexer obviously not going to work with her A2, but it will work with the decreased speed that she has on her A1 ability. I have Lore of Steel here. It's only going to apply to one of my sets, but still it's a nice to have. I had her on a different build previously. I like to go down and pick up the extra healing masteries on Scyl the Drakes. It's probably not the #1 choice, but I love it, man. I think that healing, going with the HP instead of the accuracy, and then going Healing Savior and going Lay on Hands and Healing Savior is going to be great for this champion because of all those passive heals she is bringing to the table. You could also come down for Merciful Aid and go with Lasting Gifts to extend the duration of her increased speed and her Ally Protect on her Revival, okay? Now, if you don't want to go defense, if you don't want to pick up primarily Harvest to Spare and Fearsome Presence, getting an extra chance of the stun on the A2, bumping that up to a 40% chance on each hit, right, from a 35. Then you can go offense tree, and I would simply go with Deadly Precision, Keen Strike, and then finish off War Master, kind of hugging the left-hand side. If we pull up her multipliers really quickly here, thanks to hellhades.com, you will see she has a 1.55 defensive multiplier on her A2. It's a 2-time hitter, though. So, in reality, a little bit over 3. If you add them up, doesn't work that way, but, it can give you a good indication. And then a 3.5 on her A1. So she can actually hit pretty hard for a support champion. But Shurikit is so good as is, like, in terms of the heals, the control, and the revive, and the debuffs, that I'm not so concerned with getting a ton of damage out of her. Even on my main account, I have 2 Scyl the Drakes built. One of them with 100% crit rate for damage, for a little extra damage, and one of them is all-out support and regeneration gear. And I mostly go with the regen support. Could easily be Relentless as well, primarily because, when I'm using Scyl the Drakes, normally, I'm not looking for a ton of damage out of this champion. It's a nice to have, but certainly not mandatory to get the full essence of her kit to help you in your team. Stat priorities on this champion. Obviously, we need enough accuracy to land the turn meter decrease, the decreased speed on the A1, and the stun on the A2. So go with, what makes sense, usually around 10 to 12 points of accuracy per stage of the dungeon that you're facing. I'm around level 20 dungeons on this account, so this is going to be fine. Again, I have her built. Now that I say that I don't have them built for damage, I do have crit rate gauntlets on her. You know what? A little bit extra. As long as she's staying alive, first and foremost, it's going to be okay. She's a defense-based champion, so she's kind of tanky, 1387 base defense, and then she has almost 20k on the HP. I would say my HP is a little low. I'd like to get it at 40k, but you will also see that I don't have any silver right now to upgrade my ring all the way max, and maybe even, getting some HP rolls on some of it. Well, I have crit rate. That's why my crit rate is so high here, partially, right, because of those that shield. But again, speed on the boots, and then going defense percentage on your chest. And then I like going accuracy on the banner, and then going HP, actually, instead of crit damage on the amulet and HP on the ring to try to get that HP up as much as we can. We want her to survive first and foremost. She's our reviver after all. So you can use her in the arena. You can use her pretty much anywhere in this game. She's a tremendous champion. Look at this, a 4.5 overall rating, and I agree with that rating here. Dungeons, you can use her in any dungeon, almost any single Doom Tower boss, Magma Dragon and Dreadhorn being the exceptions, but still, even if you're just looking for a reviver for Magma, I mean, you could do a lot worse, right, with the heals that she brings to the table as well. So I have Relentless and an accuracy set on this champion. Really a big fan, again, of this build. I mentioned I have regen on my other account, and perception, as well. So, you can even go, I guess, maybe you could go lifesteal early on if you want to just make sure you're keeping her alive so you can keep everybody else on your team alive. Okay, and stun set, I mentioned too. If you want like the double chance of stun, I've seen plenty of people run Scyl the Drakes in a stun set as well. Okay, so Masteries we talked about, skills we talked about, artifacts we talked about. Let's go ahead and run her in a battle before we jump to the lore, guys. As I mentioned, I'm at stage 20 in dungeons. I'm just going to go to Dragon 20. I guess I could go Dragon 22 here, right? I want to make sure I have the affinity. You know what? Let's go Dragon 24. I don't know how, no. I'm going to go Dragon 23 Void. That way I don't have to worry about my affinities here. So this is my dragon team. I got Duck the Pierced. I've got Frozen Banshee for damage. Duck the Pierced for debuff. Kale for damage with the poisons. Scyl the Drakes. And then Sepulchre Sentinel. I really like this champion. I might do a guide on her soon. She has increased defense, block buffs, damage mitigation on the passive, and then defense in all battles as well. So let's see how this team does. And you'll see how important Scyl is on this team, right? On the squad. She leads it. There's her A2 right there. 1, 2, make it 3 stuns. Not too bad. And then we come in and provoke with Duck the Pierced on one of the other mobs. So really only one mob is left unchecked in terms of being CC'd right now. So you're seeing a lot of decent AoE attacks here. And again, she's not going to be dealing, incredible damage, but that's not her role, man. Her role is, look at every time she takes a turn, and let's keep an eye out for those extra turns too, right? To get those heals off. And the increased speed. So check it out. We don't have an increased speed champion on the team, but now Frozen Banshee has increased speed for 2 turns. It's a nice addition to an already really, really good kit. It's kind of like the cherry on top, so to speak. So you can see she's doing a great job controlling these waves. Great job controlling waves in Doom Tower as well, and Faction Wars as well. You name it. She's a wave controller while also keeping everybody alive. And hey, if she doesn't, she's going to go ahead and revive them anyway, right? Now you're seeing why this champion's so special, considering she's a free champion that was given to everybody in this game for free after 180 days, right? And when you're 180 days in, unless you're an oil tycoon in Saudi Arabia spending $1 billion a day on this game, I feel like most everybody can get utility out of this champion by the time that they get her. Unlike maybe some Doom Tower hard champions where by the time that you get them, you already have better because it might take you a couple of years to get those champions, So let me come back at you guys when we get to the dragon. Be right back. All right, guys, here we go against the dragon. So Void Dragon, this is where Frozen Banshee and Kale come into play here. They're going to be my damage dealers. Scyl the Drake just needs to keep everybody alive with the help of Sepulchre Sentinel as well, right? So we got Frozen Banshee CC'd temporarily there, but these, look at that disintegrate by Kale, man. He is a dragon killer. We get an extra turn there. Look at all those heals going off, right? I mean, those heals, it may not seem like a ton, similar to a 5% poison not feeling like a ton in terms of the damage, but it adds up, right? It's really mitigating these poisons on my team every time she takes a turn. So we're able to take that damage from the poisons and then heal them right back up. And this is just the magic of this champion. She's just got that energizer effect, another extra turn. You're seeing the increased speeds go off on our teammates here. Kale has it, Duck the Pierced has it right now. And this is why I love Relentless on Scyl the Drakes, guys. She's a great kind of bastion for a tank support for really, every team in every area of the game. I am fawning over her because she's such a great freaking champion, man. All right, so I'm going to get into, as soon as this is over here, as soon as this runs over, we're going to see what we get for artifact. We're going to see her heals and her damage, compare the numbers here, and then we are going to jump into the lore because it's kind of a long one, but again, it's a goodie. If you're not into lore on these champions, well, I encourage you to maybe check it out for Scyl, because like I said, it's a pretty good story. Look at all those heals, man. 550,000. We have Kale in lifesteal gear, as you can see. But again, if we pick up that Harvest to Spare, and add that leech to the equation as well, it's going to help heal everybody else up even more. It's a really important mastery to pick up. That's why I love defensive tree for this champion. All right, so not too bad. She out damages Separatist Sentinel. There we go. But again, we're not looking for damage from this champion. All right, I could even, if she was ever dying, I just want to be very clear here. If she was ever dying on any of my teams, first thing I would do is take those crit rate gauntlets off. Replace them with HP percentage on this particular build. Or defense percentage on this build, because I already have defense on the chest, I would go with HP if she was ever dying on any of my teams. All right, Scyl the Drakes, here we go, guys. Scyl the Drakes is a terrifying force to behold on the battlefield. Her answer glittering in the sunlight as it whistles through the air in a brutal swipes and swings, her dragon scale cloak billowing behind her. Scyl cuts the imposing image worthy of a true warrior king. Her foes reel and break, unable to match her fury, while her allies find themselves invigorated in her presence, their fatigue and pain banished by the blessings of the Phoenix. Once Scyl was nothing more than a terrified girl, orphaned by ruthless Night Revenant cultists who razed her home village to the ground and slaughtered its inhabitants. Scyl alone managed to escape, but she was merely a child in the Dreadlands and nary a hope of survival. She should have died there, but Providence intervened. The disciples of the Drake, a dragon-worshipping troop of outcasts and exiles, found Scyl when she was already lost consciousness from dehydration and hunger. They brought the girl to their hideout and nursed her back to health. In turn, she was sworn into the troop's service. Though it soon became apparent that Syl's talents lay not in cleaning and cooking and tending to the myriad of everyday needs of the camp, but rather in the art of battle. The disciples were not numerous, so any fresh blood was welcome among their warriors, and Scyl had proven herself both capable and passionate. She bested all her peers and many opponents older and more experienced by the time that she came of age, swiftly taking her place among the raiding parties and earning her share of glory in uncompromising hit-and-run attacks against the Orc, the Undead, and the Night Revenant parties venturing into the Dreadlands. In due time, she rose to command a small band of young warriors of her own, which grew along with her reputation. Syl's reckless courage led her to many victories over the course of several years, but it almost cost her everything as well. When a large Night Revenant raiding party had been discovered camping along the cliffs of the Grofang Ravine, Scyl, blinded by hatred, ordered an attack regardless. Her warriors and she were outnumbered, but they had the element of surprise on their side and struck under the cover of night. With stones cast from cliffs, crests, and skirmishers moving among the rocks like vengeful specters, Syl's warriors rained death upon the foe. But the initial confusion passed, and cultists threw themselves into the fray with maddening fury, pressuring the disciples with sheer numbers and ferocity. Scyl fought in the first ranks, as she always did, and even as she as warriors fell around her. Though wounded and bruised in the brutal melee, she cut her way through the armor-clad dark priest who led the Knights Revenant force. They clashed beneath the starlit skies of Crocon. The steel met steel. For several minutes the duel lasted without either combatant gaining an upper hand, yet soon cultists started flocking in to assist their leader. Cutting them all down cost Scyl precious time and strength. In the end, she missed a mace stroke that shattered her ribs and left her grasping for air on the sand, her foe preparing to deliver a death blow. But Scyl was not a warrior to give up, even in the direst of circumstances. In the final moment, she managed to reach for her spear and thrust it through the priest's dark heart, sending him back to his twisted master. Silence had befallen over the ravine. Apart from Scyl, no soul remained alive amidst the cliffs, and she even felt life ebbing away from her body. Vengeance and bitter triumph remained her only companions at that moment, but she was not destined to die. Unbeknownst to her, a powerful djinn observed the battle from afar, and so impressed it was with the young woman's brazen skills that it designed to appear in the aftermath of the slaughter. Wreathed in flame, it took the guise of a phoenix and spoke to Scyl with the words of praise and blessing. She received a small fraction of magic. Her wounds mended before her very eyes. The spirit vanished, leaving naught but an exquisite cloak of dragon scale in its wake, a final gift it wished to bestow upon the warrior who had impressed it so. Scyl spent the day giving proper burial rites to her fallen warriors and returned to the troop alone, where she was hailed as a heroine. Her reputation grew, and after numerous battles, she rose to lead the disciples of the Drake herself. To this day, they remain a force to be reckoned with in the Crocan Desert, and servants of Siroth always straying into their territory, lest they incur the wrath of Scyl of the Drakes. Avoid straying into the territory. So there we go, guys. That is a story and a half here on Scyl of the Drakes. I love it. It really ties into her skills, the dragon scale that she has. It really paints the picture of this orphan who became a warrior, combatant, this fierce leader, and gets revenge over the Knights Revenant. So really, really cool stuff. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.